Welcome to our first week of this initiatic path through ourselves and to know the universe and how to connect with it. So the first week is dedicated to our feet chakra. And the feet chakra is related to our destiny. When we talk about the portal of our feet, we have to think about the purpose that it is in our feet. Why do we have our feet and how that is projected to the universe? Usually when we meditate or when we do any spiritual work, we forget about the legs and the feet. But actually it's a very important source of information for our body, for our spiritual body, because humans, when we started to seek for an answer beyond, the first thing that we used was our feet. When we were in Africa, at the very beginning of our first intention of expansion in the planet, the reason why we left the forest was because we were in need of a new resource, of a new place to find security, to find food. So we had to leave the trees to start walking in the savannah. So from that very moment, the horizon became a way in which our cultures would be designed, going towards the horizon, going towards some place that is beyond our sight, that we can only imagine, and our feet are the ones that will take us there. So in the memory of our feet, in our cells of every human, we have the destiny. We have the memory of destiny. We have the memory of going beyond. And that's why as we walk the land, as we walk the floor, all the information of our brain goes straight to how we feel and connect with the earth. So that's why in our feet we have also all the chakras, we have our spine, we have all the data of our entire body that tries to feel the ground in which we are going to move through. So biologically we have the information of destiny in our feet, and energetically it is encoded in our ankles, which is the joint where the information is moving through. So it's the portal from where we connect with the earth towards the entire body. So every time that we think about our feet, we have to think also about our spiritual path, our spiritual realization. Because when we usually think about spirit, we go to our head, to the crown chakra, to the higher self, or to the skies, to the stars. But actually our spiritual path didn't start there. It actually started when we walked towards the horizon looking for food. In that pursuit of looking for something, we created the idea of destiny. And the word destiny throughout thousands of years have been designed in a different way. Like we think that destiny is where we go, that a destiny is a place where we have to reach. But actually the word destiny comes from the word de stare, that means to move from the place where we are. That's actually the meaning of the word destiny. So actually it's not going to a place, is to move from the place I am, where I am staying right now. Which means, in certain cases, that the destiny is not a place that exists, it's a place that I build, it's a place that I project, it's a place that I create along the path as I decide to move. So I'm not going to arrive to any destiny if I don't decide to make the first step, if I don't move along, if I don't move ahead. So that's why destiny is something that you create. Throughout thousands of years of waving path along the planet, what humanity have done was to create different ways of destiny, which is related to a way of walking. So the way of walking, the way of moving forward, became a tradition. Tradition means to talk in between, which means someone told me how to walk, so I will walk like that person because that person had a good experience walking that way. So tradition is to speak in between each other. So someone that had taken the path told me how and where to go. That tradition created destinies, which is different ways of walking that path according to what other people have done before. And that's the reason why we changed the concept of destiny being the one that I create, as destiny being the place where I have to arrive because someone told me. And that idea, throughout thousands of years, created the concept that there is a destiny for each one of us, or there is a destiny that has been designed for a greater mind that is up there in the universe and that have molded our reality in order for us to get somewhere. But actually, when we have two ways of seeing this perception, the point of view of a human who is conditioned by this reality, or the point of view of the spirit who is the one creating this reality. So let's take a look from the 2 points of view. The point of view of a human is an individual that is conditioned by biology. Biology encodes the personality, encodes tradition, dogma, beliefs, encodes all the traumas, mainly, that have been designing who we are. So even if, for example, today I am Matiaș, the reason why I'm doing this is not just because Matiaș or my spirit told me to be here. Actually, the personality that I am has been built by all the traumas of my ancestors. So everyone that had passed through the information to one another until I was born have been accumulating destinies in every decision that they took. Which means that as humans, we don't have much choice. We are just an echo or a reaction of all the choices and destinies that other ones previously have taken for us. And I'm not just talking about grandparents or great-grandparents. I am also talking about the first cells in the bottom of the ocean when they created the first membrane to protect information in a chemical reaction inside a cell. So the unicellular beings were the first one on conditioning the traumas that modified our reality. So that was the first destiny, which was to protect my inside, to protect myself, to take care of my food, of my wealth. So that destiny created all the destinies of every living being from that, which was try to survive, to live as longer as I could, accumulating as much protein, as much fat, as much energy as I could. So basically, that designed the idea of survival, that designed the idea of doing things in order to improve, doing things in order to prove others that we are worth. We are just the echo of those first cells that have designed that destiny for us. And closer to us, parents, grandparents have been designing our psychology on how to create our destiny. Like, what do we have to be? How do we have to behave? Which friends should we have? How do we have to be related to our family? How do we have to behave at school? So then teachers and bosses and society starts to mold constantly our way of destiny, which means how do I move from where I am? From the point of view of humanity, we are conditioned in every second and every cell of our lives. even if we think that we have free will, biologically we don't have it, because we are just a condition of a consequence. No individual is just alone by itself. We are just echoes or consequences of everyone that came before. So whatever action we take in our lives today, it's going to move the decision of everyone previously created, so previously expressed. So we are adding a new reality or a new thought to that previously taken. But we are not taking any decision from zero. We are just a consequence. So in our idea of what is destiny, we tend to try to believe that we have free will, because it's something that keeps us alive or keeps us moving forward. But actually, free will is just an idea. The free will is just the idea of being able to change certain decisions in all the previous decisions taken. So it means that we can transcend, transform, heal some process of that huge pattern, but we are not entirely free to choose or decide whatever we want to do in our lives, because we are, as I said, a consequence. When we try to think about this in a very human way, it's very horrible somehow, because we feel trapped and people want to escape from the ancestors, escape from the traumas, escape from all this darkness or the history that is in our backs. But actually, all of that is not a weight for the creation. Actually, all of that is what we call the net. Is the net that creates us. Is the one that gives us tools in order to improve. So all the things that usually we think it's karma, for the universe is not a weight, is a tool. So that's why we have to take a look into what for the universe is destiny. For us, having feet, we understand that destiny means leaving something behind, and from where I am, taking a move forward to something that I don't know. So in our human way of thinking, the idea of the feet being the destiny designs our point of view of moving forward and leaving behind what we have just done. For the universe, it's not. Universe basically means to bend towards the self. So it means that it doesn't have a head, it doesn't have backwards, it doesn't have outside, doesn't have within. The universe is basically one. And because it's one, it can see future and past at the same time. So it means that actually there is no destiny for the universe. The universe doesn't have a goal, because it doesn't have feet. And this is a totally different perception on how we expect or see the universe, because we have projected towards the universe the way in which we, mammals, humans, have designed our point of view. But actually, our point of view is just a tiny fraction of what a destiny is, while for the universe is the whole thing. So for a reality that doesn't have feet, that doesn't have in front and doesn't have a back, it means that the whole thing is happening exactly at the same time, which means that there is no mission and no purpose. For humans, a mission is to move. So mission means to move or to send something. That's the origin of the word mission, to send something from one point to another. And purpose, its origin is to put something ahead. So I put something ahead, por posa, which is to put ahead. And the mission is to get to that thing that I put ahead. So if you think about this in a human perspective, I have put an idea in the horizon that there is food and safety for me. So my purpose is to find food and safety. My mission would be to walk through this adventure to find that food and safety. So my purpose in life is to get there, to get to the point that is ahead, and my mission is to move along the adventure to get there and to find the tools that help me to find it. For the universe, there is no ahead, so there is no purpose. For the universe, everything is in one place and everything is connected, so there is no mission. So when we go to the spiritual level of the cosmos, suddenly we don't have any purpose and we don't have any mission. And this breaks the whole structure of what reality is. For the universe, destiny is not to go somewhere, is to be someone. It's completely different. It's not to move ahead, it's just to be the future, or just to be the past, or just to be here and now. So it's a completely different view of how things are. So when we connect with the spiritual realm of reality, with the universe, suddenly we have to understand that the purpose is created by something that is called polarity. It's one of the laws of the universe. And polarity basically means that the universe, which is one, had to become diverse, which is two, in order to move. And by that movement creates magnetical field. And that creates life, creates everything. So this unity, which is neutral, dividing into two, creates the positive and the negative. And this positive and negative will always try to find each other. But the neutral in the middle is avoiding them to collapse. The neutral, the unity, is the one projecting them towards the outside and creating a vacuum in the middle, a void, that makes these two try to find each other around the neutral. That's why they start to spin, they start to move, and they create this magnetical field to try to find each other. This polarity is the one that creates the idea of purpose. The idea of purpose is when the inside creates the outside in order to see itself. So by that, it creates different ways in order to connect to one another. Those different ways are the different streams of the magnetical field, which we call missions. So sending negative energy to the positive and sending positive energy to the negative is what we call the missions in our in the creation of the universe. So basically, the purpose and the mission can be only achieved in worlds of polarity or duality, but not in worlds of unity. In the worlds of unity, like the universe, everything is one, so there's no purpose and no mission. In the worlds where everything is divided into positive and negative in order to exist, so we have purpose and mission. But those purpose and mission are not about to accomplish something in order to become better. It's basically to do things in order to have a better view or a better perspective of the whole. Let's take the image of geometry. When you have the division of these two, positive and negative, and you project the neutral as the third point, so you have a triangle. So picture that this triangle, this trinity, which is the first thing that exists in the division, this trinity projects a purpose which is this node from unity, from one, projects the division into the other one. So a purpose is for this point A to reach point B. And the mission is the line, the edge of geometry that connects them. But also this one can create another one, another point, point C. So this line, it's another mission towards another purpose. And then this other purpose has the purpose to go back to the core, and it creates another mission. So suddenly you have 3 purposes and 3 missions. In our basic life, we could call that the purpose of the spirit is to reach the soul. The purpose of the soul is to reach the body. And the purpose of the body is to reach the spirit. So in order for the spirit, which is vibration, to get to the soul, the energy, needs to change the frequency, which is the mission, in different levels until it reaches the perfect energy. For the energy to reach the body, needs to divide the energies into many, like a rainbow. So all the rays of colors of energy go into the matter. And the matter, in order to assimilate that, creates shapes from those colors. So all the geometries. So the geometries will manifest the glands, the organs, the body. And it's through the glands, the energy of the glands, that we then can achieve the energy of the spirit. So the frequency, the vibration through the voice, the singing, the prayer, for example. So we have to find the different ways, the missions of our lives in order to reach the spirit again. Could be religion, science, whatever. So this can basically explain how the universe creates purposes with only one mission, which is create a triangle. It's very simple. So if we are concentrated as a spirit to reach the soul, we will only see duality, because we are just a being trying to project into something else. If the soul just tries to reach the body, it will only see the reality of the body. So it will follow all the time the reality of the body. If the body tries to find the spirit in different ways, but it's concentrated on how to find the spirit, it will only create different timelines or missions to find the spirit. What it takes for that? To reincarnate once and again, creating fractals, another triangle, another triangle, another triangle, 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 triangle. So it divides itself in so many triangles until it finds the shape. But that's what we call reincarnation. We go back and forward once and again, trying to find the destiny to the other purpose, to the other purpose, to the other purpose. What we don't see from that is that there's no end, because it's a fractal. So you can be doing that for eternity, and there's no end, because there's no final of the cycle. There's no ending to the cycle of reincarnations. So it's a constant spiral that goes in every direction if you are so concentrated in just one thing. If you follow only one purpose, you will always be creating a new triangle. Constantly, all the time. But the good thing about this is that eventually these triangles will create a sphere. So there, from the division, you create again the unity. So as farther you go into the division, the closest you get to the unity again, because you create the sphere. So that's why so many beings in the reality for the universe needs to live and die, live and die, live and die. And we constantly repeat the same thing, doing it once and again, so we can multiply the triangles until we create the perfect sphere. The thing is that if you are only concentrated to go from point A to point B, you will always see a purpose and a mission. A purpose and a mission. A purpose and a mission. And you won't see the matrix. The matrix is the net. All the missions together, shaping all the purposes together. So suddenly you see a network of triangles that are all connected. It doesn't matter the time, it doesn't matter the space. You are here in this age, in this moment, but you also have a triangle 900 years ago, you also have a triangle 12,000 years ago that are doing their same thing or their own thing in different vibrations. One in the future, one in the past. So actually, for the universe, there is no going ahead in the future, it's within different frequencies of different realities. When you start to see the matrix, you stop seeing yourself as someone that goes towards the future and comes from the past. You start to see yourself as a dot or a purpose in the net. So suddenly you become a pattern inside a matrix. We could say then that the missions that you have to accomplish in your life is the matrix, is the mother that is weaving a net of existence. And the purposes, which is the goals that you have to accomplish, the places that you have to get to, are basically the patterns that you follow. So patterns from the past, every decision that your ancestors have taken in your biology are actually nodes of that net. They are not the past and you're the present and then will be people in the future. They are nodes that are shaping triangles throughout life after life. Not only through your soul, but also through your biology. So all these paths create the matrix, the net, where the universe says there is no purpose and there is no mission. You are your own purpose and your own mission. And the only way you can transcend purpose and mission is by you becoming your own purpose and your own mission. Which means to unify your own spirit, soul and body as a perfect trinity and see the triangle. Now, how you do that? We call that coherence. Coherence is basically the heritage that we share. That's coherence. For the spirit is what do I think? For the soul is what do I feel? For the body is what do I do? So what I think, what I feel, and what I do must be aligned. And if there is a coherence between the three of them, you start to shape your own triangle. And suddenly, you stop looking for answers outside and you become the answer. When you see the triangle, you stop doing missions and you become your own mission. You stop looking for things and things come to you. It's a completely different thing because you start to see the net and you become, instead of a fly, you become a spider. So you start to weave your own net. And the way you do that is by taking small decisions of changing the way in which you do things. How does this work? Basically, we are, as I said, a consequence of previous decisions. When we, for example, go to our home, we usually go back always through the same road because our brain is trying to earn energy. In order to earn energy, it puts auto mode. So it means that it looks for the previous data that it has inside to activate a pathway so you reach your home, your place, or your work, whatever. It takes the data from the network, from all this huge network, takes the most easier pathways and creates an auto mode in which you don't have to think how to go there, you just go. So we do that in every fractal of a second for everything. How we move our hands, like I move my hands like this because my family is Italian, so I have the memory of my ancestors talking like this all the time. So I need my hands to explain myself, otherwise I would die. So my cells are basically trying to look for a way of explaining better, and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to think the hand to move. My cells know how to move them in order to talk accordingly to what I'm thinking. So when I do this, I basically become a consequence of other people's actions. And we rely the power of our destiny to the decision previously taken by others. So in order to see the triangle and to be coherent, what we have to do is to use those tools in order to transform my reality and do something different. Like take a decision that we would never take in a previous action. Like take the choice of, for example, the next 6 days, to go to your home from 6 different places. Like take different pathways that you have never taken before, even if it's very long. Take it. So your brain starts to weave a new net. How does it work? Your brain, when it goes all the time from in the same direction, suddenly doesn't pay attention to anything that is around. So you are missing information, data from the rest of the net. You are missing signs that maybe are useful for you to change a pathway or to change your destiny, to transform an idea that you are trying to transform, but you cannot because you have a specific pathway that has been created before to hold that network. But in order to get out of your triangle and create a transcendental triangle, to create a new reality of yourself, you need to find another line. You need to create a new mission for yourself. So you break the triangle and you expand into a new one. And in order to do that, you need to create a new mission. And for example, let's say that in the next 6 days, you will create a new mission going back home from a different street. And then you will go back home in a different hour. And then you go back home with a different person. And then you will go back home walking or then in bus. So change the different ways in which you go to the same purpose. Find a specific and typical purpose on your daily life and create a new pathway. So you will start to create a new line to a new triangle to start seeing a bigger picture. So you will allow your brain to get out of the auto mode, to receive new data, new signs, new information that could help you to achieve a different destiny. Because when you start the conscious path of your life, what actually happens is that you realize that free will was actually a condition of every free choice that other ones have chosen for you. But in the conscious action, in the conscious way of doing it, you start creating a bigger net from those actions. So free will would be actually not to get out of the system, but to be able to see the system from a wider perspective, and also to use the system for your own good. You will see much more information and you will pay attention to much more details that have been there around you, but you weren't paying attention because you were just acting according to pre-established pathways. So in order to transcend the destiny as a place where we go, we have to become the destiny as a place where we choose to be. Not to go, but to be. The destiny is not where we go. The destiny is the choice that we make in how are we gonna make the next step. Is where we are and the movement that we take in order to move forward. So you put together the vision of the universe, which is I am everywhere and in every time, all at the same moment. And you use the human path that you have created as a tool for that. You become your own destiny when you realize that destiny means take a decision from the place where you are now and create a new pathway to get to a new purpose. So remember that purpose and mission are just lines and dots in the matrix, and you are moving through those dots and edges of the geometry. So every decision that you do there, when you do it just trying to accomplish a purpose, makes you forget that there are many other options around, that it's a whole net that you can take benefit from. And when you do that, you kind of escape the idea of coming back to accomplish the same purpose once and again in the same circle, and suddenly you expand to the net and you see all the possibilities and all the potentialities that you can have in order to accomplish what you have created for yourself. The new concept for you about destiny is your choice of where you are, and not to accomplish a purpose, but to open yourself to any other purpose that takes you to the sphere, that takes you to the matrix. I started to get this information about how the universe moves through us and creates destiny while I was 16 years old, and I connected with my higher self. And before that, I thought that all my previous lives and all my actions were in a line, like I am the last one on a chain of different lives and different decisions. But suddenly when my higher self touched me and I saw the sphere, I could see that my line was just a tiny line that creates a whole sphere with so many options and so many possibilities, that I understood that each one of my ancestors, friends and people all over, and trees and plants and stones, they had also a path line of all these destinies and decisions and transformations that were part of myself too. So I could access to any of them. And that changed completely for me the idea of what the destiny is, and that we are not going to anywhere. Because actually, when we try to all find a purpose, suddenly we all find the same thing, which is the center, the core. And the core doesn't have any strength, doesn't have any pool of energy. It's just neutral. So it means that there's nothing. And I had to fight myself with this idea of, why am I doing all this? Why am I sharing this? Why am I traveling around the world? Why do I even bother to do my projects in this life if I now know that there is no purpose for the universe in all this that we are doing? It took me a while until emotionally I understood that the understanding of the universe of not having a purpose, it is not against the idea of us as the creation having a purpose. So because we have purposes, we can create the unity without having a purpose. So it's not someone creating us just for fun. It's us creating everything in order to find balance, in order to find that point of creation. So it's not a creator creating us with a purpose, it's us giving a purpose to the creation itself that doesn't have one. So for me that was very life-changing because I understood that actually everything that we are doing now in the planet, for example, is the planet thinking, what should I do with this that I have within? So we are trying to find billions of different ways in which we could give a purpose to the planet, which doesn't have one at first. But now that she's alive and she recognized, okay, now I am Earth, what should I do? Created humans and trees and animals in order to find a purpose, in order to find these path lines to understand it. And in my personal case as Matiaș, as an individual, I tried to understand that pathway through my mother's side family, which was Italian, and they were always escaping from one home. So they were escaping because of the war, and then they were escaping from the father, and they were escaping from the wife, and so they were escaping always, and they could never have their own house. Like they were always trying to run away from something, and they could never own their own place because they were always moving along. And for my mom and for me, it was always a trauma not having our own place where we could settle and rely, and so I see this is a pattern of not having a home. This is a pattern of not having a safe place. So instead of feeling I have to find a home, what I did was the opposite. What I did was I will take that trauma of running away from something, and I will use the movement in order to build my home in a bigger place. So I started to travel, and I started to travel to different countries and never stopped, like moving around until while I created this network around the planet, I started to understand my home is the planet. So I created a bigger home with a bigger family, and I was using the tool of escaping from a home in order to build my home. So I used the tool of my ancestors, which for them was a trauma, and I turned it into a tool for me to reach many people and for me to reach the whole planet. So I didn't heal the trauma, I used it as a tool. And I transcended the need of a home because I know that anywhere in the planet I go, I will have a place to sleep. So I ensure my ancestors that I have a bed in every country that I go. I don't need to have a home. The planet is my home. To summarize this idea of this class, we would say that destiny is actually not the place where you go, but the place where you are and you choose to be. So you are the creator of your own purpose, and you are the one taking the decision of what mission do you want to take. If you are aware with your coherence between what you think, what you feel, and what you do, you will be free to create your own purpose and your own mission. If you are still in coherence with this, you will accomplish the mission and the purpose of the echoes of the past. So your ancestors will use you to accomplish their own purposes. So remember that you can use the tools of your past, of your ancestors, in order to transcend, find the coherence, and start becoming your own destiny. So yourself choosing where to go according to where you are. Transform where you are, what you are, and you can change the geometry of your life. And related to this, I'll give you the task for this week. In the next days, I would recommend for you to choose a purpose, which could be coming back home, as I said, and every day take a different path. Like, don't go all the time to your house from the same direction. Take another street, try to find a different shop, enter a place where you've never been before, talk to someone that you usually see but you never talked with. Try to do something different on the pathway to home. Try to feel every step you take, or also change the way in which you reach there. By walking, bus, car, different streets, different directions, different people. Try to enter different places or shops. So your brain can open to receive new information, and it's not used just to follow the echo of a thought. So I invite you to take note on which path you would do, or just surprise your own self by just taking a walk and deciding to switch your feet to another direction for just a second, so your whole body gets ready and prepares for whatever adventure comes from. And that would open the geometry so you escape the triangle and create your own network.